Alright, yo. This is my lead build. Um, I don't know. I went through my fourth playthrough of this game, and this bleed build just seemed like super fucking disgusting. I know there's mad bleed builds out there, um, and I'm a big fan of the bleed in this game. So I thought I'd fucking make this video and kind of show how this build, works. Nothing too crazy. Rivers of Blood, maxed out. Cult Godskin Peeler with Seppuku, Ash of War. Um, and I went with the arcane scaling, um, making it a cult just to have more flat or more scaling damage. I run a shield. You don't really have to run a shield with this. I see a lot of people just run like double twin blades without like the need for a shield. But I boosted my endurance enough to the point where I can handle it. Um, and I have a claw mark seal. There's an arcane boosting seal that you can get like in the very beginning of the game if you have a swordstone key. I honestly just haven't gotten to it yet. This has been honestly fine. I don't use that many incantations with this build. I use the swarm of flies a lot, but I mean not as much as like I do just like straight up meleeing shit. My bleed procs come from like my weapons. They don't come from incantations really. I've seen a lot of like bleed builds just utilize their arcane scaling with like faith, so they have access to like a bunch of different incantations that cause bleed. That playstyle is not really that interesting to me. I mean, I've done a playthrough using that, like using like a pure faith build, pure int build. It's cool, it's fun, but it's not as fun as like I'm just like a melee type of player. I just like to melee stuff in these types of games. Um, Armor is just straight up fashion. I just think it looks sick. With one exception, the white mask. I use this because it raises attack power when there's blood loss, and I think that's just why would you not have that on a bleed build? A lot of people run this because it boosts their arcane. You can see my arcane is at a 45. This will boost it up to a 53. That's pretty ridiculous. Honestly, bro, I just think it looks kind of stupid. Ronin's armor just looks sick. Malekith's gauntlets just look sick, and the Briar Greaves, they look cool, but the thing is, when you roll into people, it like staggers them a little bit because there's like thorns on them. It does like, you know, 4 damage, nothing crazy, but that's stun is like pretty sweet. Um, I've been running these talismans. Erdtree's Favor is pretty good, obviously. I mean, it's probably one of the best talismans in the game. There's a +2 or a +1 somewhere. I just can't remember where it's at. I use the Scar Seal. I've just been using this for the majority of the playthrough. It's OP. This I got from doing Millicent's quest line, and it's the first playthrough I've actually gotten that on. Raise attack power with successive attacks. Why the hell would you not want that? And then I use the Prosthesis Wearer Heirloom. Just raises my dex. I run Mimic Tier because it's a bleed build, because you're just running double fucking bleeds. It's insane. Um, I primarily use the Rivers of Blood and a Shield. This is kind of what this build has been for the majority of the playthrough. If I want to get funky and run double dual blades, I'll do or double twin blades, excuse me. I'll do that. Um, but like I said, I'm right up the middle. Nothing too crazy. Kind of just go up the middle. I want to try to see if we can fight Placidus Axe, just because he's really vulnerable to bleed. Just to kind of showcase the ridiculous numbers that I'm putting out with this build. I mean, I fucking I beat Millennia with a Mimic Tier, which is like honestly the way she's meant to be fought, with a Mimic Tier, to make it like a little bit more trivial, a little easier. Um, but she was so fucking easy compared to the first time I fought her, dude. Like, holy shit. Just the bleed is just ridiculous. It's one proc of that, and they're done. Done. And it's gonna raise my attack every time I do that. Done. Super easy. Is there one more? No. We're good. Yeah, dude, she was absolutely a joke. Like the on this playthrough, she's you know everybody knows about Millennia now. She's honestly probably the hardest boss in this game. But I'm telling you, man, first try against her, and it wasn't even fucking close. I might need more flasks, honestly, in order to do this, but that's okay. We'll try him out. See how it goes. He's super vulnerable to bleed, I know. Um, and he's like one of the coolest boss fights in the game. So let's see. Skip this. Everybody's seen this shit, you know. Don't want to get too crazy. Call him a boy. This is honestly the only incantation I really use, is that. Sometimes I buff other stuff, like if I'll run a Yuji Katana, I'll put these armaments on, but you honestly don't need it with this build. Just don't. I love the soundtrack of this fight, too. And there you go. Kind of rough. He's kind of hard, you know, but not too bad. So that's the bleed build. Appreciate it. I'll do some more build videos in the future. I have a faith build, strength build in the works right now, and a straight up dex build in New Game Plus. So appreciate it. GG's.